It started with a party I didn't plan. That's not unusual, really. In upper-middle-class suburbia, parties are currency. Block cookouts, baby showers, fire pit wine nights. Each event a social ladder rung. And Dana? She climbed like her life depended on it. But this one felt different. She came home one evening with 3 bottles of white wine and a look I hadn't seen in a while. Giddy, almost nervous. The kind of energy you get before a proposal or a performance review. "We're hosting a dinner," she said, dropping the bottles on the counter. "A dinner? Next Saturday. Just some neighbors. Low-key." I blinked. "Since when do we do low-key?" She smiled. "Too quickly. Since now." The week that followed was a montage of Dana spiraling into Martha Stewart on steroids. She rearranged the patio furniture 3 times. Hired a local florist for centerpieces. Had new string lights installed, even though the old ones worked just fine. She gave me tasks, grill prep, beer run, pressure washing the deck, but made it clear my input wasn't necessary. Or welcome. "This is my vision," she said, waving away my suggestion about putting speakers on the fence. "Just let me handle the vibe." The vibe. Right. I let her run with it. At least until Tuesday night. That's when I found the tablet. We share one. It's old, cracked in one corner, mostly used for looking up recipes or playing YouTube videos while we cook. It was on the couch, still glowing from a Pinterest scroll session she forgot to close. Normally, I wouldn't have looked twice. But something caught my eye. The board was titled, "Rebuild with Him Blackheart." Not us. Not me. Him. I tapped it open. Pins. Dozens of them. A lace wedding gown on a forest path. A handwritten note on a onesie. "Can't wait to meet you, Daddy." A quote in swirly cursive. "Some souls just find their way back." She'd saved floor plans for 2-bedroom bungalows. Rustic reception tables. Pregnancy-safe mocktail recipes. I just stood there, heart weirdly calm, like it had already heard the news and was just waiting for my brain to catch up. Rebuild with him. Not a friend board. Not a fantasy board. This was a future board. And I wasn't in it. I didn't say anything. Not right away. Not when she asked me to hang lanterns from the pergola. Not when she ordered monogrammed linen napkins for a backyard dinner. And not when she picked out name cards for each plate, because it'll feel more formal. Instead, I started printing. Every pin. All 73 of them. Full color. I laminated each one like a menu. It took 5 hours and 1 trip to Office Depot. But by Friday night, I had a stack that felt like evidence. Or maybe art. I wasn't sure. Saturday came fast. The weather was perfect. 72 degrees. Clear skies. Enough breeze to make the string lights flicker, but not enough to knock over the hand-poured soy candles Dana insisted we needed. The guests arrived in waves. Julie and Greg from across the street. Samira and Louis with their teenager in tow. Mel and her new boyfriend. Plus that guy who always smells like weed but brings the best pie. And then him. Brian. Tall, clean-shaven, crisp button-down that said, "Not trying too hard." With him, his wife, and his son. The son looked about 15. Old enough to know when something's off. Young enough to not fully understand it. Dana hugged Brian too long. Too close. I watched the boy's face. He noticed. So did I. We served dinner at 6:45 sharp. Grilled flank steak. Garlic potatoes. Dana's signature summer salad with strawberries and feta. Everyone sat under the lights, laughing, clinking glasses, praising the aesthetic like it mattered. Each place setting had a card. And under that card, carefully taped beneath the plate, was one laminated pin from Dana's secret board. I didn't number them. I didn't label them. But I matched them. Guess to betrayal. Brian got the wedding dress. His wife? The baby room color swatches. The teenager? A quote. "You're never too old to find your true family." Dana? She didn't know. Not yet. I waited until dessert. Strawberry shortcake with that whipped cream she likes. I poured one last round of wine, lifted my glass, and cleared my throat. "Before we dig in," I said, smiling, "just a quick toast." Forks paused midair. "To new beginnings," I said. "To honesty, to growth, and to finding your way back to what you really want." Then I gestured. "Please, everyone, take a look under your plate." And then, I watched the world implode. Dana's smile cracked first. Then her hands. Then her voice. And Brian? He choked on air. His wife? Silent. His son? Confused. Then furious. Nobody moved. Nobody ate. Nobody said a word. Not yet. But the unraveling had just begun. I don't remember who lifted their plate first. Might have been Samira. She's always the overachiever of the neighborhood. First to RSVP, first to bring a dessert shaped like a swan, first to notice when the wine's too dry. Her fork froze midair when she found it. A full-color image of a white farmhouse with a wraparound porch and a chalkboard sign on the front lawn. Home sweet home, the second time around. She blinked, looked around, then slowly slid it back under her plate like it might bite. Greg, next to her, tilted his head, lifted his plate. His face twisted like he'd smelled smoke. Under his, a close-up of a silver wedding band etched with the words, "Round 2, Forever You." The rest followed. Mel gasped. Cheryl just said, "Oh my God." And then the wave of murmurs and shifting chairs spread like a sneeze in church. Fast, messy, and impossible to ignore. I watched Brian last. He was frozen, his fork still stabbing an untouched piece of shortcake, his eyes darting, not at the pin under his plate, but across the table. At Dana. She hadn't looked yet. She was too busy watching everyone else. Her smile was gone. Her hand gripped the stem of her wine glass like it owed her something. And then, finally, she looked under her own plate. I saw her fingers pause. She slid the card out. It was the one with the ultrasound silhouette. Fake, of course, but detailed. Crisp. She stared at it for 3 full seconds before her eyes shot up to me. I raised my glass again. To new beginnings, I repeated. Or old mistakes. Depends on who you ask. No one laughed. Brian's wife, a woman I'd met exactly 3 times and who had never spoken more than 20 words to me in a row, reached under her plate with trembling fingers. Hers was the dream nursery pin. Soft sage walls. Floating shelves. A mobile shaped like clouds. She blinked once. Twice. Then slowly turned to look at Brian. He didn't look back. He didn't need to. Everyone already knew. "You planned this," Dana said. Low. Almost a growl. Her voice carried just enough to reach me, and just enough to let everyone else pretend not to be listening. I sipped my wine. "You made it easy," I said. "You printed my Pinterest board?" "Every pin," I replied. "You laminated your future, so I just passed it around." Her face twisted. "You don't know what you're doing." "I know exactly what I'm doing," I said. "And so do you. Or did you forget that you titled it Rebuild with Blackheart?" A flash of panic. Then rage. Then nothing. Dana turned to Brian. His face had lost all color. His wife hadn't spoken yet, but her jaw was clenched so tight it looked like she might crack a molar. And their son? Still staring, eyes bouncing between his father, his mother, and the fake ultrasound. That was the moment Brian cracked. He stood. Fast. Too fast. His chair scraped loudly against the patio pavers. "I didn't know," he started. His wife rose too. Slower. Colder. "You didn't know what?" she asked. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Dana stood next. "Everybody, just stop," she said. "This isn't what it looks like." Samira laughed. Loud, high-pitched, incredulous. "What's it supposed to look like?" she asked, waving her pin in the air. "A baby shower invitation?" Brian's wife, still eerily calm, reached into her clutch, pulled out her car keys, said nothing, and walked out. Her son followed, slowly, but not before turning to Dana and spitting 4 words that stuck to the patio like gum. "You ruined 2 families." Then he was gone. The rest of the guests didn't know whether to stay or go, so I helped them decide. "Feel free to take your pin home," I said. "Or not. Totally up to you." Greg chuckled nervously. Mel muttered something about needing to feed her cat. Within 10 minutes, the backyard was half empty. Dana stood in the middle of it all, arms crossed, trying to muster the same control she'd had while micromanaging appetizer trays and ambient lighting. But it was gone. That version of her didn't survive dessert. "You're going to regret this," she said to me, voice tight and shaking. I tilted my head. "I didn't cheat on a shared tablet," I said. "I laminated your secrets. You regret yourself." She looked like she wanted to scream. Instead, she stormed inside. Brian stood there a moment longer, shoulders sagging, hands in pockets like a teenager caught shoplifting. Then he left too. I stayed, poured another glass of wine, sat in one of the patio chairs, and watched the citronella candles burn. One by one, the guests trickled out. No one said goodbye, except Samira. She passed me, paused, and whispered, "Honestly, iconic." I raised my glass, then leaned back and let the silence fill in where the music had died. I hadn't even played a playlist. Didn't need to. The pins did the talking. And now, they say revenge is best served cold. Turns out, it also pairs well with strawberry shortcake and awkward silence. The night after the dinner party, the house was a war museum. Empty plates still on the patio. A toppled wine glass under the outdoor heater. One of the laminated Pinterest pins, 10 cozy names for your rainbow baby, left floating in the koi pond like an invitation to hell. Dana hadn't spoken to me since she stormed inside. Not that night. Not the next morning. Not even when she accidentally slammed the bathroom door hard enough to knock the towel rack loose. Her strategy was classic. Cold shoulder, scattered muttering, then loud calls to people who might still take her side. I heard snippets. It was just ideas. It didn't mean anything. No, it's not what it looks like. Pinterest is not a legally binding contract. But for a woman who once hosted a murder mystery book club brunch, Dana was remarkably bad at reading the room. The room, this time, being the entire neighborhood. And the story? Already out. By Sunday morning, the neighborhood group chat was lighting up like a 4th of July bonfire. Someone, probably Samira, posted a cryptic message. Y'all, if you were at that party, just know I will never eat shortcake the same way again. Cheryl replied, forget the dessert. Let's talk about the baby board. Someone else dropped a reaction gif of a woman flipping a dinner table. I wasn't named, but I didn't have to be. The chat was 32 people deep, and half of them had laminated betrayal souvenirs tucked under fridge magnets. At the gym that afternoon, a guy I barely knew slapped me on the back and whispered, dude. Savage. At the gas station, the cashier squinted at me like he'd seen me on a courtroom sketch. Even the UPS guy raised an eyebrow as he dropped a package and said, nice night for a party, huh? I just nodded. No need to explain. Let them tell the story. It gets better every time. Dana started damage control on Monday. She posted a filtered photo of our backyard on Instagram with the caption, beautiful night with beautiful friends. So much love in this community. Dizzy hashtag, grateful hashtag growth. No mention of the mass exodus. No tags. Just a perfectly curated image of twinkling lights and her carefully staged dinner setup, taken before the betrayal buffet began. The comments were polite, sparse. Then a burner account replied, did you print betrayal in full color or just grayscale? It got 30 likes. She deleted the post within an hour. That night, she finally broke the silence. We were in the kitchen. I was microwaving leftover steak. She was pouring herself a glass of wine like it was sedative. You humiliated me, she said. I didn't even look up. You did that to yourself, I replied. People think. People think what you showed them, I said. A curated gallery of lies. I just turned the lights on. She slammed her glass down. This wasn't supposed to happen, she said. It was just a fantasy board. That doesn't mean it was real. Then why was he there? I asked. She didn't answer. Just stared. I walked past her, fork in hand. Stopped. You know what the worst part is? I said, turning back. You weren't even careful. You logged in on a shared device. You saved pins like love letters and thought hiding them in a digital scrapbook made it okay. She looked at me like I'd slapped her. But I hadn't. I'd laminated her. 3 days later, Brian's wife filed for divorce. The story hit quietly, word of mouth, secondhand gossip, a friend of a friend. But it was confirmed by Cheryl, who saw her at the courthouse and texted. Guess those nursery ideas came with custody papers. Brian moved out by the weekend. No forwarding address. No goodbye. His son hasn't been to soccer practice since. I didn't reach out. Wasn't my place. But someone dropped off a manila envelope on my doorstep. No return address. Inside, one of my laminated pins. The baby mobile made of clouds. And a note written in pencil. I get it now. L. I didn't know who L was. Didn't matter. Reputation, in a suburb like ours, moves quietly. One move. One plate. One party. And suddenly, you're not just the guy who was cheated on. You're the guy who set the table for truth. The week after, I got invited to 3 separate barbecues. Samira texted first. No drama, promise. But if you're grilling, we're bringing wine. Then Greg. Hosting Saturday. You coming or printing something? Even Cheryl got bold. We're doing trivia night. You in? Or you busy dismantling another marriage? I want to all 3. Because why not? Sometimes all it takes is one laminated lie to make people see what they missed before. And sometimes, all it takes is a party. But I wasn't done. Not yet. There was still the matter of the house. And Dana's idea of staying in it. After the party, Dana pretended like nothing had changed. She still did her skincare routine at the pedestal sink like it wasn't now hers alone. Still restocked the fridge with almond milk I never drank. Still lit her lavender candles in the hallway like scent could erase memory. But every corner of the house said otherwise. The dining chairs had a scrape on the bottom where Greg knocked his plate over. The guest room curtain still had a faint wine stain from where Mel's glass went flying. And the tablet? The one with the Pinterest board? I mounted it on the wall in the garage. Turned off the Wi-Fi. Let it freeze on that board title. Rebuild with him Blackheart. Every time I went to grab a hammer or check the drill battery, it stared back. A digital tombstone. Dana tried to reassert control in little ways. One morning I woke up and the living room was rearranged. Couch pushed to the wall. Rug rolled halfway under the coffee table. Our wedding photo replaced with a generic painting of birch trees. No warning. No ask. Just rearranged like a dollhouse for one. New flow, she said when I came downstairs. For what? For clarity. I just looked at the painting. The trees are dead. She didn't respond. But clarity is a funny thing. Once you have it, you start noticing things you didn't before. Like how she always claimed the closet space without asking. Or how she'd correct me in public like it was a hobby. Or how, when we got our first dog, she gave it her last name at the vet. I'm the one who takes him to appointments, she said. It wasn't about the dog. It never was. It was about territory. So I started marking mine. Not with pettiness. Not with yelling. With silence. Cold, effective, permanent silence. Step 1 was removing her echo. Not the smart speaker. The social one. Her calendar was color-coded on the fridge with events like wine walk and charcuterie with Samira. I started hosting my own nights. Quiet ones. No invite sent. Just texted a few people I trusted. Fire pit tonight. Bring your own glass. They came. Word spread. Dana's wine nights shrank from 12 to 4. Then none. She asked me once, "Why are they still showing up for you?" I said, "Because I never handed them a laminated lie." She didn't like that. I liked it just fine. Step 2 was the closet. I boxed up everything she hadn't worn in 6 months. Her brunch heels. Her backup denim jacket. The dress she wore to that weekend retreat in the Poconos where she reconnected with herself. Each item folded with care. Each box labeled, "Storage, Dana." I left them by the door. Didn't say a word. That night she came home, stared at the boxes like they were grenades. "What is this?" "Space," I said. "For what?" "For whoever lives here now." She didn't touch them for 3 days. Then they disappeared. Step 3 was paperwork. I met with a lawyer. Not to file. Just to prepare. His name was Carl. Mid-40s. Looked like the type of guy who'd been through one divorce too many to let another man get blindsided. We sat in a quiet office with a fake plant and too much beige. He asked questions. I answered calmly. Showed him the Pinterest prints. Showed him the party guest list. Told him about Brian, about the sun, about the silence. Carl didn't blink. "You have leverage," he said. "I don't want revenge." "You've already done that," he said. "Now you want the house." I nodded. He smiled. "That, I can help you with." I didn't serve papers yet, but I let Dana find the pamphlet. Left it on the kitchen counter under the mail. She didn't say a word. Just moved it aside. But I saw her eyes. The same way she looked when I lifted my wine glass at dinner and said, "To new beginnings." Not fear. Not guilt. Just realization. She wasn't in control anymore. I was. A week later, I came home from the gym and her car was gone. So were half her things. Not all. Not the ones that mattered. She left the throw blanket she clutched during The Bachelor. Left the framed "live, laugh, love" quote she swore was ironic. Left the lavender candle. But the closet? Empty. The pantry? One wine glass missing. The photo? Replaced. On the wall above the mantel, where our wedding photo used to be, was a single framed pin. I hung it myself. The baby mobile. Clouds, stars, and the caption, "Dreams don't build themselves." Let her see that next time she stops by. Assuming she still has a key. If Dana had left quietly, maybe things would have ended there. If she had packed her car, sent a vague email to the neighborhood chat like, "Taking some time for myself," and driven west with her wine glass and Pinterest boards, I might have let it go. But Dana never knew how to exit without applause. Which is how, exactly 1 week after her stuff vanished from the closet, she tried to host another dinner party. At Cheryl's house. She called it a community reset. I called it pathetic. The invite came through the usual channels. group text, shared calendar, a Canva image featuring charcuterie and wine glasses clinking in watercolor style. It looked like every other forced gathering on our block. Except this time, she added a line that stopped me cold. Let's remind each other what real friendship looks like. I almost choked on my coffee. Real friendship? From the woman who bookmarked 4 different wedding dresses on a board called Rebuild with Him Blackheart. From the woman who lied to my face, my neighbors, and to a teenage boy watching his father implode across a table of grilled flank steak? I didn't respond, but I marked the date. When Saturday came, I didn't show up. I let them gather without me. Let them sip and smile and pretend Dana wasn't an open wound bleeding on his Cheryl's perfectly vacuumed rug. But someone else brought me the update. Greg texted me an hour after it started. She gave a speech about second chances. Samira followed 10 minutes later. She tried to say you were struggling emotionally, and this was your way of coping. I almost slapped her with a brie wedge. And finally, Cheryl herself sent a photo. Dana, mid-toast, glass in hand, standing in front of the fireplace with that performative humility smile, the kind she practiced in the mirror before every PDA meeting. She captioned it, "Don't worry." Nobody clapped. I stared at the photo for a long time, and then I started writing. By Monday morning, the blog was live. Yes, I started a blog. I called it The Laminated Truth. It wasn't flashy, just black text on a white background. One post, one entry, one story. I told it like it happened. No exaggerations, no emotional fluff. Just facts. The party, the board, the toast, the fallout. I redacted names. I changed the address. But anyone from the neighborhood could fill in the blanks. At the bottom, I uploaded every pin. Full resolution, dated and timestamped. Then I added one sentence in bold. When someone shows you their future, believe them. The link made the rounds fast. Greg shared it by accident in the HOA newsletter. Samira printed it and left a copy in the Pilates studio lobby. Mel posted a screenshot to her Instagram story with the caption, "He didn't say her name," because he didn't have to. Dana texted me at 11:42 p.m. that night. "How dare you?" I didn't respond. She followed up, "You've embarrassed both of us." Still nothing. Then, finally, "I want to talk." This time, I answered. "So talk." Comment sections open. She never did, but others did. Anonymous usernames. Local logins. Some strangers, some not. They posted things like, "Saw this coming." She brought that on herself. "Wish I had printed mine." One reply, from a username I recognized but couldn't quite place, just said, "I was sitting next to my son. Thanks for making him see it." That one stuck. After that, Dana went quiet. Not just text silence, social silence. Her Instagram went dark. Her Facebook got scrubbed. She even removed her name from the neighborhood gardening committee spreadsheet. But she still lived nearby, still passed me at the grocery store, still tried to hold eye contact, like a test. I never flinched. One day she left a box on my porch. Inside, a key, a lavender candle, and the framed photo of us from the mantel, minus the glass. No note, just the weight of what she'd broken. I didn't keep it, but I didn't throw it away either. I mailed it to Brian. Let him decide what to do with it. The house changed after that. Not physically, not at first, but energy is real, and so is the way a place feels when it's yours again. I swapped out the light bulbs, repainted the guest room, rearranged the patio furniture the right way. Cheryl came by with cookies one evening. She stood on the threshold, took a deep breath, and said, "It feels lighter now." I nodded. "It is." She handed me the cookies, paused, then said, "You ever think about doing this for other people?" I laughed. "You mean hosting another dinner party?" "No," she said, "helping them set the table." It sounded ridiculous, until it didn't. The thing about being the guy who drops the truth like a wine-drenched bomb at a dinner party, people start showing up at your door with matches. It started slow, quiet. First a message from someone 3 streets over. Jessica, I think her name was. We'd only met once, years ago, at a chili cook-off where her husband took second place and pouted the whole night. Her email read, "Hi, I saw the blog. I think my husband has a board too. Can you help me find it?" I didn't answer right away. Wasn't sure if I wanted to open that door. But then came the second message, and the third, and by the 10th, I built a form. Name, email, suspicions, devices they shared. I didn't promise results. Just said, sometimes the evidence is hiding in plain sight. And people flooded in. Turns out, Suburbia runs on denial and shared logins. I never went full vigilante. Never hacked. Never stalked. But I did teach. Taught them how to check cloud histories. How to look for patterns in shared calendars. How to cross-reference Uber trips with deleted messages. One guy found a Venmo trail labeled Pizza Wineglass Peach that led straight to a hotel 2 towns over. Another found a Spotify playlist called Our Place, and he hadn't made it. A woman found a recurring Amazon purchase for silk robes. She didn't wear silk. She posted a photo of the receipt to the forum. Captioned it. Guess she forgot to uncheck send to shared email. Dana didn't know about any of it. By then, she'd become a ghost. Rumors said she moved in with a friend in Naperville. Some said she was seeing a therapist. Others claimed she was trying to start over in real estate. I didn't track her. Didn't need to. My house was mine again. Not just legally, emotionally. Every time I passed the patio where she toasted new beginnings, I smiled. Because it was a new beginning. Just not for her. Then came the letter. Handwritten. No return address, but the handwriting was familiar. Sharp cursive. The kind you only see in women who used to write in journals before Instagram made them public. It read, "You win. Happy." I read it twice. Then I laughed. Because this was never about winning. It was about closing the door she left wide open while planning a nursery with someone else's husband. It was about saying, you don't get to rewrite the ending. It was about taking the story back. So I wrote back. No letter. Just a pen. Printed in color. Laminated. A white plate with silver cutlery and the words. Sometimes you set the table just to flip it. I mailed it to her sister. Let her deliver the message. 3 months passed. Then 6. The blog didn't go viral. It didn't need to. It reached the people it was meant for. The ones who needed permission to believe their gut. Who needed proof that silence isn't always forgiveness. That revenge doesn't need shouting. It just needs timing. And presentation. I still host dinners. Smaller ones. No printed menus. No name cards. Just people. Real people. We sit on the same patio where it all burned down. Eat off the same plates that once held shortcake and laminated heartbreak. Sometimes someone brings it up. The night. The toast. The pins. I just smile and pour another glass. Because if you live long enough in a curated world, the truth starts to taste like dessert. And mine was served chilled. With strawberries. And a side of silence. Subscribe to the channel